All right, everyone, I will officially call the March 16th, 2023 Public Safety Meeting to order. And if we could all rise, and Chief, if you could lead us in the pledge. All right. Thank you, Chief. Thanks, everybody. Everybody's having a good morning here, survived the storm. We'll jump right into it. We have our jack of all trades, Tom Fitzgerald, running point for us today. Tom, thank you. And congratulations on your appointment to Assistant Town Manager.
Acting.
Yeah, acting Assistant Town Manager, whatever you want to call it. You're doing a great job. As we're playing down with one hand tied behind our back right now with all the challenges and everything in amidst budget. So last night you did a good job, and I appreciate you being here. So with that, we'll go to approval of the minutes from December 15th. Tom was kind enough to provide us with those. Are there questions, amendments, rejections, additions?
I have one comment.
Sure.
In public audience, I believe it said Griswold instead of Gristmill Road.
Yep. All right, we'll get
my only suggestion is to change that.
Yep. All right, we'll get that administrative change in there. Any other questions, comments? Chris, can I have a motion to approve?
So moved. Motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second that. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
All right, those amended minutes stand. Thanks, Tom, for that. And Melissa from the Health District. Good morning. Welcome.
Good morning, guys. It's been a little while since I've been able to make a meeting here, so appreciate having you all back online.
Yeah, good to see you.
Thank you. I don't have too many updates on the preparedness side of the house for us, other than to say, we've finished our after action report from our COVID vaccination operations. And so we've been dutifully working on updating our emergency response plans accordingly. So our public health emergency response plan, which is our base overall health district plan that talks about our roles and responsibilities, as well as our partners. And then we'll be working on updating our mass prophylaxis plan, including our pod locations and different areas in which we're trying to make some improvements regarding that. And we did just also update some pretty significant revisions to our what used to be our pandemic influenza plan. It's now called an emergent infectious disease response plan. So just kind of a little bit more broad category, not just things that can cause pandemics, other infectious disease outbreaks that may happen. So we wanted to just be a little bit more broad with that. So I think with that, we're going to probably do once these plans are done, do some trainings and exercises with our staff, and look to reach out to our partners on the exercise front. But that'll be some time. It's probably a year or so in the making. So that's it for me.
Excellent. Thank you. Jennifer Katanis, I see we have you as well. Anything from your side?
Yeah, just one quick thing. Many of you know we did just release our community health assessment. So members of the public that are listening, we'd encourage you to go to our fvhd.org website. There's a full report, there's summary documents, and we are looking for community members to chime in relative to priorities, as well as participate in work groups as we develop our health improvement plan. So you may be seeing posters and flyers hanging around town, in the library, that sort of thing, but looking for input. So please go and look at it. It's a pretty comprehensive document, lots of data sources, and we're glad we could get back to that after our COVID response kind of winded down.
Absolutely. Thank you, John. Any questions from the group on health district updates? All right. Tom, anything from the town manager's office?
Maria said she has no update.
Excellent. Those are the best kind. All right, emergency management. Do we have Michael Berry on today?
No, Michael does not appear to be with us today.
He does not. All right. We'll skip that for now. Chief, police and specifically the crosswalk, West Street and Grist Mill.
Yes. So good morning.
Morning.
I just wanted to commend the fire department for their recent responses during the storms that we've had. Again, another fantastic response by them, and then regularly handling the calls to Eversource has been a tremendous success. So just wanted to put that out there and thank them for that. On a different note, we are expecting the delivery of 4 hybrid cruisers. So we had ordered those last year, and just wanted to make sure the other emergency services were aware of that in case we need to have some of their services for the vehicles. They are not all electric vehicles, they're hybrids. And I know they are fully capable of handling any emergency that we may have with those, but just kind of want to give a heads up to the fire department that we should be expecting at least one in the next 2 weeks, and then probably the next 2 or 3 months, 3 more. And then on to the crosswalk. There were or have been multiple town departments working on this now for quite some time, and not just this crosswalk, but crosswalk safety improvements throughout town for many, many months now, probably well over a year anyways. But a proposal was submitted to the Board of Selectmen through the town manager's office that reflected improvements that we're looking for in some key locations throughout town. And that was approved last night by the Board of Selectmen to then move on in the process. So we are happy to report that as of right now, we're moving forward with the funding to be able to address some specific locations, and that West Street at Grist Mill Road is on that priority list.
Absolutely. Thank you, Chief. And I think everybody knows, right? The state has said that we are able to do that crosswalk, but we just have to fund it, right? So
that is correct.
Yep. So appreciate everybody's hard work on that. I know there's been a groundswell from many neighbors in that area. So appreciate the responsiveness of you, Chief, and the rest of town staff to address those concerns.
Thanks.
All right. Any questions for the chief? All right. Karen Stewart, ambulance.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I'm missing your St. Patrick's Day outfit, so we need to get back into person.
You know, I'm all out of swing. I'm house sitting, and yeah, it's been a morning, so we'll get back into the swing of things.
That'd be great. I relied on that. So, so our first bit of good news is we're expecting to take delivery of our newly remounted ambulance in the next couple of weeks. You probably heard me talk about this before, but the remounting involves taking the box or the patient care area and placing it onto a new chassis. Because since we take such good care of our ambulances, basically there's no reason to replace the box. It just needs a few minor nips and tucks, and it's basically brand new when it comes back. So it saves us several hundreds of thousands of dollars over purchasing a brand new ambulance. This is the second ambulance we've remounted, and the first one has been very successful. So I'm hoping to expect the same out of the second one. Over the past few months, we've been working with the police dispatch and our sponsor hospital, St. Francis, to update the EMD system, or the emergency medical dispatch system. We've had very productive discussions with ways to improve how the dispatchers dispatch SVA and SPD to medical calls, hoping to reduce the number of high priority dispatches that really require a cold response to keep all the crews safe, including ours and the police department. As for our call volume, I'm sure you guys love hearing all of our numbers here. So we ended 2022 with a total of 2,785 total medical calls that came into the police dispatch. This included calls in Simsbury and our mutual aid towns. This is an increase of over 250 calls from 2021. Of those calls, SVA responded to 2,438 calls for medical help, which is an increase for us of 292 calls. We saw an increase of transports as well, We transported 1,596 patients in 2022, which is 169 more than 2021. I hope y'all are keeping track of all these numbers. There's going to be a quiz later on all this. However, the difference between our dispatches and the transports was 842 calls. These calls were either canceled while en route or patient refusals, most of which are not billable. We're now able to bill some refusals, but the call has to meet certain requirements. We have to do certain things on a call to be able to submit that to insurance. And that doesn't usually apply to very many of those calls, but we are trying to do that as best we can. And for this year, January and February, we're already off to a rip-roaring start, unfortunately. Our call volume is at 516 calls, and in 2022, it was only 420, and 2021 was 380. So as my favorite word is increase, 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 the call volume continues to go that direction. So have any questions for anybody?
No, Karen, appreciate the update. And just to continue the theme of the budget, the Board of Selectmen did forward onto the Board of Finance last night, both the waiver of the outstanding loan on the radio upgrade of $70,000 for the ambulance service, as well as the operating transfer for the fiscal year 23-24 of $150.
That is fantastic. We appreciate your support and the Board of Selectmen support through all this process. It's immeasurable how much this is going to help us. So thank you.
Absolutely. And again, it'll be a continued partnership, right? So this is the first phase, as we've talked about, in terms of continuing to prioritize that second ambulance and helping SVA continue to provide, the high level of service that all of our residents expect. And I know everybody is very prideful in delivering. And then, to make sure that we're diving in deep on structure and how do we support this key service, long into the future. So, and obviously I know Chief Baldus and Gary have been instrumental in those discussions as well. So look forward to that continued partnership.
Absolutely. Thanks again. I really appreciate it.
Yep. All right. Any other questions for Karen? All right. Fire Chief, do you want to go first or Patrick?
I'll let Patrick and Gary go first, second, and then I'll bat cleanup.
Sounds good.
Patrick.
Fair enough. Not much to report on our end. The public fire education side of the fence. Remember, change your clocks, change your batteries. We had that campaign going on just this weekend. Hope everyone took part in that and actively were involved in changing their batteries. Also, a lot of plans coming in for new developments in town. They're starting to get into the submittal for site plans and for some construction. So more increase, as Karen had just nicely put it. On top of that, also we continue to work with the other town agencies on the fall prevention initiative, where we've had the opportunity to possibly bring a class in that we're all going to take advantage of at the state level, but free to the members of the committee. Other than that, that's all I have.
All
right, Gary.
All right, great. Well, first off, I'd like to thank Patrick. I think he's connected via Zoom from quite a distance. He's away on some time off, but made the time this morning to still keep up with the group. So thank you, Patrick, on that. On the fire district side, we are in the middle of our budget process, as the town is, and the challenges that we're facing, not unlike anyone else, are inflationary changes that have impacted us over the last year, and as well as the huge inflationary impact that the cost of fire apparatus has brought. Not only is the cost of that apparatus up in upwards of 35 or 40%, but also where in years past you would place an order for a fire truck and you'd have it in a year. Now it's a 2-year wait. So the planning process on our side is a little more critical as far as making sure that we have funds in place and we are planning properly. We do in the foreseeable future. We've got 3 pieces of apparatus that are on our master 20-year plan to be replaced. So again, the budgeting on that is ongoing. That all that being said, is that with the revaluation that has occurred, we are looking to lower our mill rate. The anticipated final figure will be 1 mil versus last year, which was 1.22. So we will have a preliminary budget available probably the middle of next week, if not by the end of next week for sure. That will be available on our website. So anyone that's interested in looking at that budget preview, we won't finalize it until April to go to our May annual meeting, but there'll be a preview on there. And we did just have a budget workshop, which was very, very beneficial. We had a good process on that, and we're on our way. Thank you.
Thanks, Gary. And then Chief, bring it home for us.
Good morning. Again, to dovetail off of what Nick had said, and we send the kudos also back to his agency too, because it was a great working relationship between us, certainly the police department, as well as Public Works. We work very, very well as a team. And I have to say that I think the response this storm was great. It was enhanced by the fact that Eversource was on the ball. I don't think it hurt us to the fact that we had snow and the rest of Connecticut didn't, east and south of us. But we wound up actually seeing Eversource do a staging area right here in Simsbury with an abundance of equipment, which I think helped in terms of the response. This storm was a little bit different in the fact that we didn't really have a lot of power outages, which was good. And the power issues that we did have were somewhat limited. But again, Eversource was very, very responsive. We did definitely see a lot more in terms of low hanging wires or wires down on the cable, and also communication through Frontier. Some of their new fiber lines, which apparently weren't maybe hooked as well as they should have been, had come down, creating low wire issues or fallen wire issues. And the same thing with some Xfinity as well. I have to tell you that they were actually fairly responsive, better than we've seen in the past as well, in terms of responding to the calls. And as Nick had mentioned, the fire department did take the lead on the communication of those utility issues, and I think it worked out very well. Their little electronic hub system, which provides the reporting, worked well this time, and so we're very happy with the overall result. So all in all, I think it worked out, tremendously well. Also, I guess in kind of what Nick was talking about, and thanks for the information on the fact that you have some hybrids coming in. The fire department is definitely taking a really close look at the whole issue with electric vehicles, also electric bikes, different types of battery recharging units that are out there, and some of the risks that go with it in terms of fire. We are looking at doing some stepped up training, picking up some additional equipment to help us in terms of how we handle some of these rechargeable battery fires and so forth that can occur. And certainly what we want to make sure that the public is aware of and pays particular attention to is when everything works well, there's no issues. But when something starts to go wrong, we have to obviously act and react very, very quickly. And if anybody does have any kind of a recharging system, it could be something as small as a cell phone, or it could be something as big as an electric vehicle. But if you find that something isn't working right, isn't happening right, you're seeing overheating, smoke, anything like that, try to get the unit outside if you can do it safely, and then immediately call the fire department. Because oftentimes what happens is there's in a sense a chemical runaway reaction that's taking place within these batteries. They get very hot and they can start on fire very, very quickly. And as if you've watched the news in other areas, fortunately not here in Simsbury, but some of those fires can be pretty extreme, and we want to make sure that we handle those correctly. So we certainly want to make sure that the focus is there on these systems. And if anybody has any issues or questions, please don't hesitate to make the call. We'd rather get there and find out there's no problem than to get a late call and find out that you have a major, major problem. So just something that we're looking at. And Nick, when you get those units, and we'd love to take a look at them too, just to be more familiar with how they're set up and how they're being used.
Very good.
And that's what I have for today.
Thank you, Chief. Appreciate that. Any questions for fire?
Actually, Chief, one other thing we should mention is we've actually had a handful, at least, of these types of events in town of Simsbury already as well. So on our end, also, we have some call sheets that will be available for us, people can do, and what to look out for on our website. when it comes to that, and also on the disposal end of the batteries. Working with Paynes, they do accept them at the town landfill. So that information will be on our website.
Appreciate that. Thank you, Patrick. Go back on vacation, my friend. All right. Neil Sullivan, Board of Education.
Yeah, thanks, Sean. Things are going well for us. Just a couple updates this morning. The last time we met, I talked about the fact that we had learned that at the Latimer Lane project that our parking lot was going to be taken for the end of the school year. So we have the details on that now and are looking for the cooperation of the Latimer Lane community with from April vacation on some different traffic patterns that have to take place and certain times at the beginning and end of day that people can come to pick up their kids, and that otherwise we have a window where the buses are going to be and then a window where others are going to be, and really need the cooperation of the public on that. And we've got some support from our school resource officers to get some help during the first part of that. So thanks for that cooperation. And we think it'll work out fine, but we'll see when we get there right after April vacation. Two other longer term things that are related to public safety, long-term projects. Since the last time we met, you probably noticed that the bleachers at Simsbury High School have come down. That was a long-standing concern in terms of just 50-year-old bleachers that really needed replacement. So we're pleased that they're down. Unfortunately, we're going to suffer a little bit during the spring seasons by not having those bleachers back in place, but they will be there by the fall with a modern set of bleachers seating the same capacity that we had before. So pleased that project moved forward. And then in the upcoming budget, every other year, the Board of Education has dollars in capital that it commits to safety projects within the schools. And if assuming the budget passes for this coming year, we're going to use those dollars for much needed updates. The security camera system in our 7 schools, those cameras are aging at like 15 years now and are in real need of modernization. So those dollars will go a long way over the course of the summer and fall to replace many, not all, but many of the cameras in our security, our internal security system. So we're pleased that that's on the docket, assuming the passage of the budget. So that's what I brought for you this morning. Happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, Neil. Back to the first one, I can tell you my second grader is absolutely stoked every day to give me an update on the renovations at Latimer, and she reports that all is going well. The crews are diligent, and the cement pouring is particularly exciting for the little ones. On another note, again, us parents can do our part, right, by utilizing those big yellow things that we already pay for.
That's the best message we can send.
Yep. So I would encourage any Latimer parents to please put your kids on the bus and not drop them off, as that would really ease traffic concerns and would ease traffic concerns at all schools. Because that's one of the things we get is, why is there so much traffic? And it's because we all like to drop our kids off. So also from the budget standpoint, yeah, the Board of Selectmen has supported all the priorities that were sent over from the Board of Education. So that is on to the Board of Finance for further review.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions for Neil? Tom Roy, Public Works, the star of the week as always.
Oh, we'll see about that. Actually, it was interesting. Winter finally came. We all thought that maybe we were going to duck it this season, and it certainly didn't happen. We've had a couple of decent storms in the last month. The storm Monday, Tuesday is kind of mentioned by both Chief Bolter and Chief Baldus. Was a good test for us at about 5 a.m. I think we were close to 26 different locations that either had partially blocked roads or limbs in the road. I was grateful. It was been really I think the first storm all winter that we were back up to full strength, and we had all of our staff in place, which was critical because we were trying to clear the snow and put out barricades at the same time. So a busy few hours there. And I can tell you, I was very happy when we had that pause early in the morning and everything stopped, because I was starting to get a little nervous. We are going to have March 25th, the household hazardous waste collection. We do this on a regional basis with our surrounding towns. This collection is held in Farmington at Monteith Drive. It is important to talk about it today because it is a safety thing. If you have old chemicals in your house, old electronics, like Patrick was talking about, an old laptop that you're looking to get rid of, gasoline, solvents, bring it to this event. They're going to take care of it. They're going to dispose of it in the environmentally proper way. And the best part about this, at zero cost to you, and you're going to get these chemicals out of your house before, old pool chemicals, all these things over time, bad things can happen. So, and then the other thing is the chief mentioned our crosswalk initiative. That's going to be getting taken over by our engineering department, and they're going to be working on that over the next several months. Just be patient, because with all things involving Connecticut DOT, we have to go through a process. So it's not a case that we're going to have everything up and running on July 4th, but just be aware that it is going to be in progress. So if there's no more questions, that covers it from the Public Works end.
Tom, thank you. I appreciate that. Any questions for Tom? All right. I am told Michael Berry has joined us. Is that in fact true?
Yes, I was finally able to get in.
There it is. You doing all right, sir?
So, want me to
Go ahead.
go to a report? All right.
Yeah, please do. Thank you.
Okay. So, for the emergency management side, as we all know, we've had a few weather events, nothing too major. Everything that goes with emergency management this month kind of deals with the weather. We've had, emphasized preparedness with everybody, and we've been working very closely with Eversource. Now, a couple storms ago, we had some problems with Eversource, but we were able to sit down with them and figure out where the problems were. And by the results of the storm that happened the other day, apparently things are working very much in our favor and very smoothly, and things went much better this past time around than it has in the past couple times. So we continue to work very closely with Eversource, and we think that things are getting better each time that we unfortunately suffer an event, which we don't want to, but unfortunately when we do, things are getting better. Exercises, we're trying to get back into exercises this year. COVID has basically become on the back burner. We know it's still out there, but we're trying to move past it. We want to get back into doing some exercises and some tabletops. We're working with the emergency management group together on several different exercises, including we're looking into possibly a townwide drill this year. And also we are working on things for our emergency operations plan to have annexes dealing with cybersecurity, heat and cold events. So we're going to make sure that we have annexes that we're going to make sure we put out to everybody, that we have everybody's input into, and then they'll be coming and going into the emergency operations plan for the future. The state has requested a couple other annexes, which I will be bringing to the emergency management group. We'll be sitting down and coming up with a plan, drafting those up and being able to put those forward. And that's about it for emergency management. This has been a very quiet period. We like that, and we would like it to continue, but we are emphasizing to all residents to remain vigilant, that winter is not over. Stay safe, follow all the procedures for safety when dealing with generators or any kind of equipment that you might have for cleanup this year, and keep an eye out for WSIM for information. And we also have our Facebook groups that we participate in for social media, and we also have the Simsbury Fire District, Simsbury Volunteer Fire Company, and the Emergency Management Group for the town that you can also get information from and contact us if you have any issues. And for me, that's it.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate that. Any questions for Michael? All right, we'll get back on track. Kristen Formanek, Director of Social Services. You here with us? Hey,
yes.
Kristen.
Hi, good morning. How are you?
Morning. Good. How are you?
Great.
Excellent.
So I think one of the highlights for us is just to reiterate what's been said about the increase in call volume. I did not bring statistics, but certainly could get them for you. In social services, we are seeing and reflecting on the increased call volume of falls. We also are having a challenging time keeping up with our response, which is to reach out to everybody that's had a call. We are co-sponsoring the fall prevention new committee that we've formed. And as was said, looking forward to some training for staff so that we can further help our folks in the community that are experiencing those falls. And further in social services, please be on the lookout for many spring programs coming through with our YSB, our Youth Service Bureau. We're really excited. Our new youth and family social worker is putting on a lot of positive youth development programming, as well as intergenerational events with our senior center. And in other news, we are getting ready to wrap up our energy assistance season. So if you have not yet applied for energy assistance and think that you would qualify for help, please do reach out to us so that we can get you in for an appointment. And then following that, look out for our rollout of our renters rebate program, which will be starting soon. And that's a lot for me.
That's a lot going on, Kristen. Appreciate all you and your any questions for
Absolutely.
Kristen? All right. VNA, Nancy Sheets. I think you're on double mute, Nancy. Your microphone is not picking you up. Okay, keep working through that. We'll keep going. I have an update from Sarah Nielsen and Main Street. They're continuing to work on the shoplifting issue. It's one of the biggest challenges our small businesses are facing. And Sarah and Main Street have reached out, to both of our elected officials at the state level, Senator Seminara and Representative Osborne on this topic. Two, the Main Street Partnership and PAC are continuing to work on improving relationships with small businesses that are impacted by parking and some of the seasonal events. Last year's meetings between Main Street and the PAC were incredibly positive, and Sarah feels that we've already seen results there. So appreciate that continued dialogue and partnership there. We'll keep going through the agenda. Mark Massaro. Lots of praise. Again, I echo that. I think through your hard work and your advocacy, seen a continued substantial improvement and a great relationship with you and Eversource. So I thank you for that, sir.
Thank you.
Floor is yours.
Yeah, Chief and Mike Berry kind of covered a lot of it already, but we did have some struggles with communication in terms of our technology around the Christmas storm. We sat with Chief and Mike and Jim Traficante early January. We listened to the items that they were struggling with and what was happening within our systems. We brought those back to our developers and worked to dig into the cause. We found what we thought was the partial cause and had some corrections made to that system. And it seems like at this point, those items that were corrected seem to be working as anticipated, and shows through the most recent storm that all the items that dispatch was putting in were showing up in our system relatively quickly, and we were having crews addressing them. The fortunate or unfortunate thing, as Chief mentioned, is most of the towns in the central region of Connecticut didn't have the snow impact that Simsbury and Granby did, over the course of Monday night into Tuesday morning. So we had many resources that were available to be able to roll into town and get assigned to things in relatively short order, addressing them. Restoration items when trees fall and so forth, they don't go quickly, right? And we see a crew there, they're like, oh God, this is going to get done. Sometimes it can be something short in duration, but other times when these large trees are there, there's quite a bit of work and coordination that needs to happen, and repairs take time. But for the majority of the items in town, they did move along expeditiously, and we were able to get most things done in, less than 12 hours, I would say, to get the town cleaned up. So, I'm happy that, we had the resources available, and we were able to take care of things very quickly. To piggyback on Kristen's item regarding energy assistance, I would strongly encourage anyone that needs to do that to do it, as soon as possible. There's funds available. There are also other Eversource programs available that you can look at if you need assistance, to go to our website, eversource.com. And also folks looking at energy supply part of their bill, you can look at competitive rates as well on energizect.com, where there's also energy efficiency information that you can look at for programs. So there's a lot of things available to reduce your usage, which ultimately doesn't go on your bill. The cheapest kilowatt hour is the one you don't use. So anything you could do to reduce use, you can get some ideas and some information for programs there. And then also think about, an alternate source of energy supply. We encourage it. Eversource doesn't make any money in that part of the bill. So it's something that's, available to all of our customers. I would, take a look at it. It's something you do need to follow up on. Keep an eye on it, because your contract that you go to can change over time. So just keep an eye on it. Keep a note in your calendar to follow up if you do switch. But there's definitely opportunity to get some significant savings there as well. So I encourage that. And if there's any questions on any of those, they can call our customer care department, and they can help them with that as well. That's all I have.
Mark, I appreciate that. Thank you for those reminders. And again, I'll reiterate, I've been on this committee for, I think, 12 years now. And, often, our emergency response is judged by the storm, but I do appreciate the listening and the execution that's happening in between the storms, and the willingness to evolve with our public safety agencies. And, that's something that I've seen is a substantially improved partnership. So, and I think all of the chiefs and all of the first responders agree that your willingness to not only listen, but follow through on the action items has made a substantial difference. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
All right. Do we have any other updates? Jen, did you get yourself off? Or excuse me, Nancy, did you get yourself off mute? All right. Okay. Anything else for the good of the order this morning? All right. Consider us adjourned. Happy St. Patrick's Day to all. Have a great day, everyone.